Ah, well, that wasn't supposed to happen. Well, here, Jamie, before you go into that meeting, let me just treat you to this little ray of sunshine. Good morning, everybody. This could be one of my dreams. There's the moment right there.
I love the look. Did you good, Daddy? Did you good? Yeah. Yes, honey, you did good.
Good morning, Patriots. So,
oh, okay.
It is that time again. Sorry, got a little audio bleed through from the video there.
Whoops. Yeah.
So,
Firearms Friday, baby.
how we doing today, brother?
Well, you've made it to Friday.
We have, and it's Firearms Friday. So, let me just I just want to touch this real quick. We're not going to go into a lot of conversation about it. I just want to remind everybody that Joy Behar's an idiot. Black people shouldn't be hesitant about the jab because white people were the experiment.
You know, what's really crazy is, historically, she's not wrong. But if you're trying to make people feel better about taking the vaccine, this is probably not the way to go. Like,
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that if somebody like, I don't know, Rand Paul or Ron DeSantis or, God forbid,
Donald Trump,
Donnie Two Scoops himself, had said something like that.
Oh,
Hey. I've had the microphone mounted on an arm here for years. I'm still trying to get used to the rearrangement. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if one of those guys had said something like this, it would have been the only thing you heard about for a hot minute. So, it's Firearms Friday. We're going to do some DGUs today. There is some news that we need to deal with, that we need to talk about. Real quick, I'm going to pull up this other article real quick that Cameron sent me, and we'll talk about that after we talk about the shooting. There was a school shooting day before yesterday.
Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday. Dude on the right looks like Goldum. Are you talking stage right or screen right, Sunshine?
And hey, if I look like Gollum,
I assume you mean the skinny one, not the Garoger. Anywho, so we've got a couple of articles to look at real quick. I just want to point out, honestly, I wasn't even going to give this story any treatment this morning, because our buddies over at Polytech did. They did a fantastic job of handling it yesterday. Texas school shooting, but this is the new development. Now, we had heard that bail had been set for him. Gunman released on bail as attorney insists case isn't standard issue school shooting. Okay, we're talking about a kid who apparently got in a fight and left to get a gun and come back to conduct a shooting. Over the past couple of days, well, the day the shooting happened, we saw a lot of stuff happen in the news. Shooting at Texas school, shooting in, it's a school in the suburbs, so we know we get to run with this one because this is going to be another great example of white supremacy being the exemplar of terrorism and blah, 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 blah. And, they even reported that there were several deaths related to the shooting, et cetera, et cetera. And then it turned out, oh no, he didn't do nothing. Oh, it's a black kid. So you're not going to hear about this. You're just not going to hear much about this story, except from shows like this, where we're going to take a look at it and say, I don't care what color this kid is. He did something wrong. And like Alex pointed out on Polytech last night, this kid's, it's like his aunt or something. It's not his mom, but his family is out speaking in his defense. And she said, "Oh, well, I'm not trying to justify anything." And then she goes on this long diatribe to justify, well, he was bullied and he was this and he was that. And Danny pointed out, good morning, Danny. I'm going to fix this real quick. I'm tilted down just a hair more than we should be. Getting the top of my head cut off. And I scooted Cameron almost out of frame, but whatever. I'm here.
Well, when you switch over to the other view, I'm visiting.
Yeah. We're clean here. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. The kid left the scene, got a firearm, and came back, I think, the next day. And started shooting. Now, one of the narratives you hear from the left is well, whenever it's a white guy, or whenever it's a black guy, they just gun him down. The cops just shoot him. They don't care. They just shoot him. But if it's a white guy, they take him into custody. Yeah, well, take a look at those cases. You can look at them one by one, and you'll find that what happens is if you keep shooting at the police, they will shoot you. If you lay your weapon down, they will arrest you.
Yeah, there's a reason why they call it returning fire.
Yes.
Like, it's because they're...
The rules are pretty hard on... I'm not the biggest fan of cops. I'm not anti-cop, but I'm not exactly wearing a Back the Blue t-shirt either. But speaking as a soldier who's had to deal with rules of engagement, they're onerous. And if you want to be certain, as someone who has to abide by rules of engagement, that you will not suffer serious punishment for returning fire, you need to be damn sure that you're on the right side of the firefight. So if you cannot make a good claim that your life was in danger, right? The standard under the law is supposed to be that you had a reason, you could reasonably believe that your life was in danger. The standard as it's actually applied to police officers and soldiers is often something more akin to you must show that your life was actually imminently in danger, not that you could reasonably believe that. Even though that's technically the legal standard, it's held much more tightly than you might imagine. And so, if somebody surrenders, there can be mitigating circumstances circumstances where the surrender looks like a credible trap, an attempt to lure you out of cover so that the attack can be developed more. And that's one thing, but you need to really actually be under fire. Maul points out that I speak as a kid. Well, the both of us were there. Cameron and I are. I hate to use the phrase this way, but we are survivors of a school shooting.
Boy, that was a weird day.
It was. Now, to be clear, when I say survivor of a school shooting, I was there. I was at the school when it happened.
Wasn't actually shot.
I wasn't shot. I wasn't shot at. I was not in the building when it happened. I was sitting on the trunk of my red Beretta. I just finished my. I had donuts and coffee. I just finished my donuts. I was drinking coffee and smoking a cigarette and getting ready to go into the school when
school was canceled for the day.
All the cops showed up.
It's like, damn, I know you're not supposed to smoke on school grounds, but a little excessive.
And I walked, and that day I walked up to find out what was going on, and, I pretty quickly figured out, somebody came in with a gun and started shooting people. They herded all the kids out of the school and onto the field. Onto the baseball field or football field right behind the school.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over there to get my sister and take her home, and one of the coaches stopped me and told me, no, you can't leave until we've accounted for everybody. And I threatened him graphically. I told him I would kill him there with my hands if he didn't get out of my way and let me collect my sister, because I said in no uncertain terms, I'm not interested in your accountability. I'm interested in the safety of my family. That... If you try and prevent me from making sure my sister is safe, I will kill you and then make sure that my sister is safe. And he said, okay. And I got my sister and I took her home, and then I came back to the school and I just started picking people up and driving
everybody that had a
home.
car. And I ended up being a taxi that day.
Yep.
So, Brett Brown says in the comments, cops have a protocol. If they're fired upon, they fire back. Oh, wait. That's my protocol, too. Yeah, no deposit, no return.
That's correct. No hospital bill, no aggravated assault charge.
That's not where I was going with it, but okie dokie.
That's where I'm going with it. So, yeah, the shooter's out on bail. Now, let's touch that for a minute, and then let's get the hell off of this and get as quick as we can to some DGUs and have a good Friday. When you look at other cases we've talked about, Danny's trying to think of that kid with the most punchable face ever.
Nick Sandman?
Yeah, it is Sandman. Wait. Anyway, let's think about these. Let's think about these kids for a minute. They released this shooter on bail. This kid got in a fight, and there's a lot of we don't have a lot of information about the shooting, except that this kid was in a fight with somebody.
Multiple somebodies, apparently.
Multiple somebodies, came back to school with a gun, started shooting, and now he's out on bail. So, Nick Sandman was the Covington Kids guy. She's thinking of that other one. I can't. Yes, Dylan Roof was the church shooter guy. That's a different case. That's not a school shooting. But similarly, I think Dylan Roof was also on some watch lists and a target of concern. The Stoneman Douglas shooter, Cruz, the Tsarnaev brothers, the Pulse nightclub,
even Major Nadal Hassan, dude was in the fucking army and they had a dossier on him.
Yep. And nothing was done about it. Now, in the Stoneman Douglas The Florida one. David Hogg, that's right. That's the one that
David
Danny
Hogg.
was trying to think
that's
of.
right. David Hogg is a hero. That's right. I see where the
Oh my
sarcasm
God.
comes in.
Talk about somebody who just made a fortune off of the Twitter mobs. I wish I could lie that convincingly and just go out and steal a bunch of money from unsuspecting Democrats. Anyway, so this kid is absolutely a known threat. So let's just put him right back out on the street. Days later, guys, there are people sitting in jail right now who are sitting there who've been sitting there for
Weeks,
over
months?
6 months.
Yeah.
Right? Who's from the January 6th protests, whose charges include literally only the charge of trespassing, which is not even a legitimate charge because it's public property. Now, some of the trespassing charges are legitimate because some of those guys did in fact enter secured areas, and we don't need to litigate the question of restricted areas in public government buildings. But by and large, when you're talking about the lobbies, the main public areas of a public building, unless you are committing another crime, you cannot be trespassed from public property under the law. So many of these guys that are sitting in jail right now who do not have bail that they can be released on, charged with crimes that are illegitimate crimes and none rising above trespass. But
attempted murder?
But this attempted murderer happens to be the convenient color. That's why he's out on bail. Because he's not the right color for the narrative to spin gun control and the idea that white supremacy is the greatest terror threat that this country has ever, not faces currently, has ever faced, is the argument that's being put forward, is the narrative that's being put forward. I think I've done enough to this case. Are you good? Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, there's not enough facts out to really chew into anything other than some wild ass guesses. And while I don't mind taking guesses, I also don't want to do the thing that like the legacy media does, where they just assume they know all the facts and run with it.
Right.
And then they have to retract.
Well, the thing that they literally did earlier this week, they heard the words school shooting
and
they immediately went white supremacy, bodies on the floor, dead, domestic terrorism, take the guns. Oh,
nope, it was a black guy.
Oh, it was a black kid. Well, he was misunderstood. He was bullied. It wasn't his fault. It's got to be somebody else's fault. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look at this. I just want to put this on your radar. This is a not yet a ruling. The Supreme Court could loosen concealed carry gun rules with this New York case. So, and I'm gonna give you a quick run over. Oral arguments are set for November 3rd. So we'll be looking for those arguments, and I think I'll be following this case. If I can on November 3rd, I mean, who knows? I could be shooting a wedding with a camera.
I got it.
I'll cut those people up in my basement
with Premiere,
with a video editing software. But if I can on November 3rd when the oral arguments are set, I'm going to try to watch this one all the way through. So, New York is one of those states that has this onerous, ridiculous, and patently unconstitutional rule that says if you want to have a permit to carry a firearm, you have to show what's the phrasing they use? proper cause. You have to prove that you have a special need that is beyond the general need. To obtain an unrestricted permit, applicants must demonstrate a special need for self-protection distinguishable from that of the general community, such as by showing they are being stalked. Distinguishable from that of the general community.
So in other words, they have to already be under threat.
In other words, the general community does not have the right of self-defense. That is the New York position on this. And that position is held in 8 other states. This article lists the other states. It's more and more states allowed to steal handguns. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, and okay. Anyway, there's 8 other states. It's New York, New Jersey, Hawaii, I think, California. I can't remember the other 4. But this article talks a bit about, in 1980, most Americans lived in places that either banned concealed carry or had a New York-style proper cause permitting regime. An NRA push beginning in the late 80s loosened public carry laws around the country. In states where gun rights advocates possess relatively little clout, gun rights supporters hope that the Bruen case will accomplish through the courts what they have failed to accomplish through the political process, which is to convince the country to abide by the law. Here's the list: California, Delaware, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Rhode Island. Something else that's very interesting to note is that the trend beginning in the 1980s, when there were massive spikes of crime, especially violent crime related to gang activity and the drug trade, beginning in the 80s, the law came around more and more to doing what is right under the Constitution. Came around more and more to actually adhering to the Second Amendment protection to the right to keep and bear arms, which shall not be infringed, which is to say, this is the right to keep and bear arms, and nothing is supposed to come within the fringe of it, nothing near it. That is what it means to infringe. Not to stop, retard, no, to even infringe. Your dress will be plain. It will not have a fluffy hem.
Well, we're not going to get a ruling on this probably until mid-22.
Correct, but we'll be able to discuss the first oral arguments in early November, so I'm looking forward to that. If the court does what the court should do and upholds the Constitution, excuse me, if the court does what the court should do and upholds the Constitution in this case, that could see similar unconstitutional laws stricken down in these other 8 states, and even extend to moving states that have not taken the right actions, like Georgia, for example, closer to constitutional carry. And that is an absolute win for America and for the Constitution. So, let's get to some DGUs.
That's
not a DGU.
That's not a DGU. So,
do we deal with this?
No. So, you talk about people taking the right actions. One of the actions that we should all push for from our politicians, if we align with our values, is just repeal all gun laws, right? Like,
arm everybody, repeal everything, fire everybody.
Yeah, but in this case in particular, the left, you got to give them credit. They never have a lack for ambition. Like, AOC might be dumber than a box of wet paint, but She has the stones to put forth the Green New Deal, to get together with the squad, to try and include it in the reconciliation package. And the thing is, if you keep taking shots at something like that, you eventually hit the target.
Well, especially when the target just holds still and refuses to
Well, what I mean is...
refuses to hold his ground.
Our side won't even take the shots.
Yes. The left is constantly doing stuff like saying, hey, we want to ban all guns. And the right says, well, no.
We could just ban some guns.
Don't ban any guns. And then the left comes back and says, well, what if we just ban some guns? Well, okay, that sounds like a compromise. It's not. It's horseshit. They come at me and say, we want to kill all the babies. Whoa. Don't kill babies. Well, what if we just kill some of the babies? Well, I guess that's better than killing all the babies.
No, yeah, seriously.
No. Don't take the guns, don't kill the babies. It's not complicated. If you're a Republican, if you've been elected to an office as a Republican, this is not hard. That is the line in the sand. No gun laws, do not kill babies.
Repeal gun laws. Repeal gun laws.
Right. Like I didn't say no new gun laws. I said no gun laws. It is your divine obligation as a citizen of this United States, if you've been elected to office, you have raised a hand and sworn an oath to whatever God you believe in, that you will uphold and defend the Constitution. If you're not actively working to repeal gun laws, you are committing a crime. You are committing a crime under the law by violating your oath of office. So long as gun laws continue to exist, every single elected official that is not actively working to repeal them is a criminal.
Okay, so...
You want to read this one?
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay. Here, let me bump it up for you.
Thanks.
Is that too much?
No. Okay. Man fatally shoots 32-year-old suspect accused of opening fire at him in German village. Let's see.
I hope he didn't waste a good Feinhausen.
Columbus, Ohio, a 32-year-old man is dead and another 36-year-old man injured after a shooting in German village late Wednesday night. Columbus police responded to the 600 block of Lozelle Street shortly after 11:30 p.m., where they found two men who had been shot. Both men were taken to Grant Medical Center in critical condition. According to the police, the 32-year-old man, Marcus George, was pronounced dead shortly before midnight. So I guess it's technically a DOT, but if they showed up at 11:30 and the dude was pronounced dead before midnight, it was probably a DRT. They just didn't call it at the scene. But technically, it's a DOT.
Yeah. Real quick, St. Michael. We covered that. We covered that already. You were late.
Yeah, we
it's okay.
did. Yeah.
You can catch it on the replay, baby.
Yeah, St. Michael's asking about the Texas shooter making bail, and yeah, we briefly, brief my ass. But
and anarchy. I don't know the last time a law was repealed. That might be something worth looking up.
Prior to heading into surgery, the 36-year-old man told investigators that the other man had approached him and shot him in the leg. The man, who police say is a CCW permit holder, fired shots in return, fatally wounding the man. Okay, so it's a DOT. Police recovered 2 handguns at the scene. The investigation is ongoing, but there have been no charges filed at this time. Police have not yet identified the suspect. Anyone with information is asked to call. Yeah.
So there's not enough information in this article to clearly determine who the aggressor is.
Probably not the concealed carry weapons permit holder. Usually it ain't them.
Right. Statistically, you've got essentially a 0 chance of being shot by a concealed carry holder.
Yeah, legal gun owners are, well,
they're not criminals. That's why they own their guns legally.
Right.
Even in the face of mounting onerous restrictions. I'm hesitant to give this one a DRT. It's technically a DRT.
It is a DOT.
Or I'm sorry, DOT. I'm hesitant to give it a DOT though, because the score in theory is to celebrate the good work of lawfully armed people, and there's a lot of information missing here. So, but I'm going to give the licensed concealed carrier the benefit of the doubt, like we were just saying. We're going to call this a DOT.
Yeah.
I need to update that sound effect.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So,
prohibition of alcohol is the last. It's the only amendment to have been repealed. Dad, I'm almost certain there have been laws repealed since then, but I couldn't name them off the top of my head. Okay, this one happened in Georgia yesterday. Oh, at least the article was published yesterday. Former NASCAR driver shot dead had hatchet during dispute with estranged wife and another man, police say. This one sounds weird. I'm not interested in your video reporting. I'm video reporting. You people shut up. Former NASCAR driver John West Townley was wielding a hatchet during a dispute at a Georgia home occupied by his estranged wife and another man when he was fatally shot over the weekend, authorities said Monday. Okay, so this last weekend. Began shortly after the 31-year-old Townley arrived at the residence in Athens around 8:45 p.m. on Saturday. Townley brandished the hatchet at some point during the fight before 32-year-old Zachary Anderson of Dunwoody fired several shots from his firearm. The bullet struck both Townley and Townley's estranged wife.
whoops.
Oh dear. Townley was fatally wounded. Laura Townley suffered serious injuries but was expected to survive. She was expected to survive. Wonder how that's working out for her here a week later. I mean, I wish you all the luck in the world, sweetheart. Investigators are trying to determine whether the Townleys remained married, but they clearly were estranged, said Lieutenant Sean Barnett, police spokesman. The relationship between Laura Townley and Anderson also wasn't clear. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the estranged may or may not be divorced husband came in with a hatchet. Somebody was bumping uglies. I mean...
And then I think we can make another leap and say that there were drugs or alcohol involved, because he showed up at 8:45 at night.
With a hatchet.
With a hatchet. That sounds like...
Now, it's not clear if he brought the hatchet to the scene with him. So maybe it was
just laying on the
just
front
sticking,
porch.
Laying on the front porch, sticking up out of the wood pile. It was just the thing he could grab. We don't know that. If he brought the hatchet with him, that kind of changes the math.
Oh, yeah, St. Michael says, I didn't know about the drugs. We're not saying we know for a fact that there were drugs or alcohol involved. It's just,
it kind of smells like that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Let me be clear about something, though. Brother, if I'm ever in the shit and you need to risk hitting me, go ahead and risk it. Because really, if it comes down to it, I'd rather die by your hand than the bad guy's hand. I don't care. They don't get the W. Period. It just is.
Suspicious. I don't get my hatchet out until around 11. That's the one.
And this is probably, this is honestly probably a very emotionally charged situation.
Oh, sure.
You talk about people bumping uglies. When you've got an estranged wife, an argument late at night on Saturday, and the guy was a NASCAR driver, so he's probably not broke, so there's a lot of money on the line. Look, I want to say this, okay, because there's a lot of nuance here, okay? But if you've never been through an ugly divorce that has the potential to financially wipe you out, you just don't understand the headspace these people were in. You just don't. And I never brought an ex-wife. I never brought a hatchet to a party.
I brought my ex-wife to a hatchet party.
I never brought a party. Damn it. I never brought a hatchet to a party with my ex-wife. Okay? Not even close. But there's a whole rabbit hole you can go down about how
hatchet parties?
Yeah. About how nasty things get in the final days of a marriage between a couple that essentially is ready to kill each other, but they're not going to kill each other. So,
I'm reading the comments over here. Lisa Howell points out that his dad is the founder of Zaxby's. I did see that at the there.
See, St. Michael says that I should get the comment of the day, or you
no,
should.
I should. Never brought my ex-wife to a hatchet party.
However,
and that is a true statement. I have never taken my ex-wife to a hatchet party.
Right. For so many reasons.
So many reasons.
However, all that being said, the fact that there's probably a good measure of sympathy to go around, this is one of those situations where, even though the estranged wife was wounded, thank God her, let's call him the boyfriend, was armed.
Oh, yeah.
Because you bang on my door at 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday and you're yelling at me and like I'm still like pulling my pants back up and you pick up a hatchet, I'm going to assume you're a threat. You're not there to help me bake cookies.
Yeah, Frank, even if I'm drilling your ex-wife and I know I'm as wrong as I could be about it, you've got a hatchet. Whether or not I'm right does not enter into my math when I ask myself the question, do I intend to survive this encounter?
Self, he has a hatchet. How do you feel about this situation?
He has a hatchet and wishes to do me harm. Oh, well, that's easy. Mozambique. Bitches.
Anyhow.
It even has a nice rhythm.
Right.
I mean, it's not phonetic punctuation, but question mark. If you haven't seen Victor Borga do phonetic punctuation, talks about the ellipses. Do yourself a favor when you're done watching the show. Just go check YouTube for Victor Borga phonetic punctuation.
Actually, when you're done watching this show,
it is the best thing you will ever see.
You should probably go to Just for Fun Radio and say hi to DJ Scotty. But after that,
go watch Victor Borga first, and then call DJ Scotty and tell him about phonetic punctuation. You'll make my day.
Okay, so just instead of going into another article, let's just hit some of these comments and wrap up because we're a little long.
Yeah, I've only got 2 more articles here anyway, and they're not super.
Lisa
exciting.
Mays Howell says, "I'd rather be wounded than dead."
Agreed.
Yeah, amen and amen.
I've been wounded.
So say we all. Yeah. And David Seaver says, there's a difference between holding a hatchet next to a wood pile and a wood pile. Oh, my. And then Biscuits and Gravy says, never bring a hatchet to a gunfight. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to end this on a story about hatchets. Loosely related. So this one time at war camp, so I was in Afghanistan. The 10th Mountain Division was the battle space owner for the last quarter of my deployment, and they were awful. God, they were awful. They were so bad at what they did that they had mounted casualties. Morale was in the shitter, and one of the unit commanders decided, okay, what we need to do is we need to have a friendly competition between the companies. We're going to have ourselves a little Ranger Olympics.
Okay.
And one of the intelligence branch commanders over there comes up to me and says, "Hey, Lowry, you look like the kind of man who knows how to throw an axe. We need you on our team for the axe throwing competition." Okay. I happen to be the kind of guy who could throw an axe. And I guess I apparently look like one. Well, Cameron is, just for those of you who haven't actually met the two of us in person, this is roughly an average-sized male. So, I'm ready to go. I'm walking to the field where the competition's going to be, expecting to do some light axe throwing in a war zone for entertainment. I'm excited about this. And that same young captain comes running up, waving his hands. Lowry, turn around! Get out of here! Get the hell out of here! Run away! Disappear, soldier! I was like, oh, and I just looked at him. I was confused. I just looked at him. And he said, I'll explain later. So I turned around and I went away. It was early enough. I went and had a second breakfast. Half a pound of bacon, a dozen eggs. It was excellent. And I caught back up with them after the games, and I heard the scores and how they did, and their team did okay. They didn't do as well as they maybe should have.
Keep with the story.
Okay, I'm gonna have to hear more about that. Anyway, so, and then he explains to me why he waved me off before the competition. One of the competitions was a litter carry relay race. As in, you have to put somebody on a litter, on a medical stretcher, and race. And a condition of the race was that your opposing team was allowed to choose your casualty. They didn't want me anywhere near the litter, so they didn't want the 300-pound man to be the one they had to carry when everybody else was going to be toting a little
not
buck 80.
300-pound man.
Yeah, so it was a fun story.
Loosely related to hatchets.
It was an axe throwing competition,
Fair enough.
an aborted axe throwing competition. And I mean, to be fair, we're talking tomahawk. We're talking like Ranger carry tomahawks. It's not like I was out there with a double axe.
Yes. Yeah. I got all that.
What you doing today? We're throwing halberds at watermelons. I'm in.
Yeah.
All right. So it's Friday. Do you have anything to close on before I do the safety brief?
Nope.
All right. Y'all be safe out there. It's Friday. Go into the weekend. Keep your head up. Looks like the weather's clearing up in this area, so it should be a pretty day out there, at least here in Georgia. Y'all be safe. Don't drive drink. Don't fry bacon naked. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, videotape, and farm animals. No two at the same time. We'll see you Monday.